Well, hey everyone. I am so glad to be here with you all today with my good friend Kay Albert Little of the Cordial Catholic. Keith, thanks for being here.
Hey, now my mic is unmuted. I can join you on the live stream.
I was a
How's
little
it
worried there for a
going?
second.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. This is fantastic.
This is going to be so fun. We've been looking forward to this. I've already seen some people in the comments saying hello. Also, just as a quick shout out, because this happened today, Keith posted his first YouTube video, not his first, like kind of his first YouTube video today in that beautiful Gospel Simplicity shirt. So it's at least 10 times better because of that. And everyone should go check that out at some point. But Keith, like, what are we even doing tonight? I'm sure everyone's wondering. I put huge announcement in the title.
I'm not sure what we're doing here. You coerced me in here by wearing my t-shirt that you had made yourself. I don't think legally. The lawyers are on standby, by the way. But I love it, and I love being here, and we're doing something exciting, and maybe you could tell people about it.
Yeah. Well, the Jason909, Jason, thanks for being here. He's great. He commented, love the shirts. So maybe we'll have to get into the story of these shirts in a second. Well, they'll see them before a bit. So
Austin,
first,
sorry, the one drawback with this situation is I can't jump into your live streams and just write random comments because I'm actually in the live stream. So a little bit disappointed that I'm here in this scenario. Maybe I should hop on a separate little chat that I can under a pseudonym, and I can drop things in the chat. Put ups and kind things.
You can heckle
about
me in
myself.
the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, heckle you in the chat.
He just uses my live stream chat as a subtle way to advertise for his channel, but I'm for it. I pulled up this comment from Hallie because I thought you'd enjoy it, Keith, that Canadians are quickly becoming her favorite kind of Catholics. So I'm sure it's all of them other than Keith, but...
Yeah. I am not indicative of most Canadian Catholics. Yeah.
So this is fantastic, and this will segue us in a bit to where we are going today. Our good friend Gavin from the wonderful channel Truth Unites, if you're not subscribed, be sure to like and subscribe. But he said, are we open to getting matching headbands saying Cordial Catholic and Gospel Simplicity, maybe face paint as well? I'm down if you're down, Keith.
I have a
headband. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys wait here. I'll go and I'll grab it. Okay. How does that sound?
Well, yeah, I'm game. I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I had this made. I could have a headband made.
Yeah. So tell them the story of this shirt before we go any further, because this is absolutely ridiculous.
Okay. So about a month back, so Keith and I have been planning this thing that we're going to talk about in a second, that we're just leaving you in suspense over, that we're going to talk about. And that starts today and continues. And he said, hey, Austin, can you send me one of your Gospel Simplicity t-shirts, because I'm Canadian and it would cost me 4 bajillion Canadian dollars, which is like $2 American, to ship one of these over the border, and your t-shirts are too expensive. And I said, okay, Keith, I'm a little insulted, but yes, I'll send you one of my t-shirts. And so I did that, and I couldn't let him be alone in wearing my t-shirt. And so I went on Teespring, where I have my t-shirts made, and I said, hey, I'm just going to make a Cordial Catholic shirt. And I was like, well, how am I going to do that? So I ripped his logo down from an email he sent me, but it had a background on it. So I had to cut it out in Photoshop. Well, I don't actually have Photoshop. I have like a knockoff because I'm too cheap. But anyway, and I cut out the background, and then I made the shirt and got it shipped in time and didn't tell him about it. And then so we were doing an interview with Truth Unites and Joe Heschmeyer, and I just came on and I was wearing this, but his hadn't come in yet. So I was the only one wearing this. So it looked a little silly, but I was down for it.
Oh, it was fantastic. And what a surprise. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time to see you wearing my shirt. Not that my shirt's funny, or my logo is funny, just because I didn't expect that. And so thankfully, your shirt arrived just this week in time for this live stream. But I gotta say, this is the weird thing, Austin, and I'll tell your viewers this because this is important for them to know this. This shirt smells like you, which is kind of weird.
Especially considering we've never met in person.
Yeah. It reminds me of high school where, you'd borrow somebody's shirt that you liked or something, or somebody would borrow your shirt and like, oh, I'm wearing so-and-so's shirt. It smells like him. kind of a bit weird. I don't know if you wore it in the house a little bit first before you sent it to me, but I opened the package and it just smelled this wonderful, very, very fragrant, very it was a nice smell, but
Well, I'm glad.
it was a little bit weird. Yeah.
I didn't do anything to it, but I will say I did use that trick the first time I gave a sweatshirt to Eliza. I, like, sprayed a little of my cologne on it. It was like, oh, what? It just smells like me? No. But, we've all been there. That was a couple of years ago. Anyway, the announcement today. Some people were saying segue. We shall segue. So the first thing we have to announce, you guys already know about, and that is that there's a live stream coming out tonight. Well, it's a live premiere of a conversation between Joe Heschmeyer and Dr. Gavin Ortland of that channel, Truth Unites, that we just brought up. Joe Heschmeyer, the author of Pope Peter, a that's not a word, fantastic book.
Not living in Canada.
No, it could be. We're going to start it. And we're having a conversation around, does church history lead to Catholicism? That quote by Cardinal John Henry Newman. Is he a saint? Is he a saint?
He's a saint. Well, we say he's a saint. I mean, that's up to you. I don't know. Saint, a very recent saint. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. To be deep in history is to cease to be Protestant. And they're discussing, not quite debating, somewhere between discussing and debating this topic. And it was a blast. But the really exciting thing, the big announcement, is that this is going to be a series. We talked them into coming back for more episodes. And Keith, why don't you say a little bit about that?
Well, there's a lot of we realized in this conversation, it was about an hour and 45 minutes or so conversation, how much more there was to talk about. And both Joe and Gavin were really stoked to have further discussions on all kinds of things like the papacy and the visible church and all kinds of things. I mean, pick a sacrament in the Catholic Church. I'm sure they'd be willing to talk about it. And it was a great pairing, as we predicted it would be. Both really cordial people from both two different sides of things, much like you and I are, Austin, and it worked so well. And at the end, everyone was like, "Yeah, let's do it again." So we have many more of these kinds of discussions planned, and I can imagine even inviting other people on the show to have these kind of conversations too, if we can find more. And once this explodes in popularity, and once everyone realizes how we can have these conversations so well, how it can be done, and everyone wants to be on these kinds of conversations, I'm sure we'll have lots more lined up. That's my prediction.
I'm really excited. Keith and I have become good friends after he invited me on his podcast. You were the first person to ever invite me on a podcast. In fact, I actually bought this. I didn't have this microphone. I was like, I got invited on a podcast. I'm going to buy a podcast microphone. It would be a stretch to call this little SM58 a podcast microphone, but we're just going to go with that. And we've stayed in touch since then. And I think we've kind of had this idea of co-hosting and thrown it around. And then you came up with this pairing of these two in this topic. And it exceeded my expectations. I think it did for you as well. And I had high expectations for it. I was so excited to do it. And I can't wait to dig in to the papacy, an area that is just like an area of expertise for Joe and something that Gavin's making content on. I think it's going to be really fun. And yeah, I'd love to do it with other guests. It's going to be a blast. I do have to say one thing. This is completely off topic, and everyone, sorry for the minor pause, but a brief backstory. Last time I did a live stream, Eliza watched it for like the first time, and I missed her comment, and I've been hearing about it since then. So Eliza, I saw your comment. I noticed it. I'm not ignoring you. Continue.
I think I saw it first. And the more I think about this, if we can just pause here for a second while we're paused, I'm pretty sure you may have just bought this shirt for Eliza, put all your clone all over it, and then mailed it to me by accident, if that's what I think that may have actually happened. Just looking at the facts here and reflecting on this whole situation.
Not this time.
So, Eliza,
truth is, I did buy it for someone else, but it wasn't for
Very
Eliza.
comfy.
She has a few.
Smells
some people
like
are asking questions I wanted to make sure to get to. Sam McCrory asked me if I'm doing any more Orthodox videos. I am, and stay on the lookout for those. So, in case you're wondering, but yeah, how many conversations did we manage to rope Joe and Gavin into? We said the papacy. What other things can people be expecting?
Well, I don't know. I said 5 more, and I'm pretty sure everyone agreed.
Yeah. Someone asked...
I think it'll be great, though.
Is there a link for this forthcoming discussion on the papacy? So we haven't decided which exact one will be next. I see Elijah's comment there. I'm
I can't bring
comfortable
comments up.
jumping
This
in.
isn't fair. I want to run this live stream.
Well, maybe next time, because
Yeah.
Keith
Can you
is
promote me so I
going
can
on
start
YouTube
putting
now.
comments in?
Exactly. Everyone, you have a couple action steps after this. The first thing is,
We
as soon
didn't
as
answer
this
this
live
question
stream
first,
ends,
though.
I'm getting to that. It's a segue, you know. So as soon as this live stream ends, it will redirect you to the premiere of our video on being deep in history. And it's a blast. I think you'll be in the discussion. Will you be in the chat?
Me?
Yeah, like in the...
I'm going for a nap after this, so
Okay, yeah, I forgot. You're
definitely
old.
won't be in
But,
won't be in the chat.
No. So that will be linked right after this. We don't have a date yet for the one on the papacy. I'd be good to do that one next. I don't know. We talked about baptism, sacraments, a whole lot of stuff. We'll see what's next. Maybe why don't you in the live stream, if you're watching right now, let us know what topic do you want to see Gavin and Joe discuss next. The first one is on church history. What is the next one? And then, was there something else I was segueing to, Keith?
You were segueing to how awesome
promoting
I
your
am.
channel. That
And-
is what I was doing.
Yeah,
Yes.
Were you really?
Yes, that was the next thing. So everyone should know about this. This is the little overlay Keith sent me. I was like, Keith, that's a little big. So I resized it for him. But then he's like, that's the wrong size. So I will advertise for him. The Cordial Catholic. He has an incredible podcast. It's world famous, charting all over the world. He refers to it as his humble little podcast. Don't let him fool you. The Cordial Catholic. Listen to it all the time. In fact, I was kind of sad today. I had a 3-hour drive. I was going to catch up on the Cordial Catholic, but I was all caught up. So I didn't know what to do. I had to listen to some other podcasts. But he is now doing video. He just got those fancy new lights that are, it looks like maybe above and beside him. I'm not sure exactly where he has them set him up. But he's going to be putting out videos on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to his channel. The link is in the description. Check that out. Also, the link to subscribe to his podcast is in the description. I don't even have any links for my stuff in the description. Just go follow him. Become a patron. He didn't ask me to say this. I'm a patron of his show, so you should be a patron too. It's a great community. He gives away books on his Patreon. That's more exciting than mine. But yeah, be sure to check out his podcast and his YouTube channel and all the things that Keith is doing.
Hey, thanks, man. That's really nice. I'm not a video guy. I'm not a YouTube guy. As you can tell, I'm broadcasting from a potato right here on top of my computer. But you know, I think you talked me into it enough with enough messages back and forth to convince me to try and branch out into video. So yeah, I'm recording. I've recorded my podcasts on audio, obviously, forever. I'm branching out into video as well. I did my first one this week. That is way ahead in the queue, so that won't come out for a little bit longer. But I'm trying these short little video clips. Me talking to myself. It's kind of weird. I mean, you do it all the time. You know what it's like. It feels a bit narcissistic. I don't know, Austin. I don't know. I don't want to develop this complex of just talking to myself all the time in front of a camera. I'll have to get some advice from you on how to stay humble and do that kind of a thing, right? But
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to try this new thing because there seems like there's a lot of, I mean, people are watching this live stream. I guess people watch YouTube.
Yeah. You know, I will say I am so grateful for the Gospel Simplicity community. All of you guys that are watching, that watch this later, that support this channel. You guys are absolutely fantastic. It's been such a blessing for me to get to know you, to see your faces pop up in the comments and the streams and get to hear some of your stories and get to know you all. And so I'm excited for you to have that experience on your channel because I think YouTube allows for a lot more interaction than you get with the podcast. Your podcast is fantastic, or should I say fantabulous? Is that what I said earlier? But it's really exciting, the transition to video in addition to the podcast. The podcast is not going away. But yeah, so guys, be sure to check that out. And you know, I almost pitched this to you earlier. I'm going to pitch it to you live and people can hold me to this. But as you start your channel and we have these discussions, I think it would be pretty fun for us to host a couple live Q&As, like a Catholic Protestant live Q&A. We can do it on my channel, point to yours, maybe do one on yours. But I think that'd be a blast. I think we'd have a good time with it. What do you say, Keith?
Like with the two of us?
Yeah.
Q&A?
Just like the live streams I do.
I don't like these live streams anymore.
He's in. He's in.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of fun. You know, I love these kinds of conversations. And I'll be honest, during this pandemic, like we're pretty locked down tight up here in Canada where I am, which is why I'm so cordial, because of course I'm from Canada. And I miss these conversations. I miss conversations about faith, about you know, living our faith lives out. There's no chance for in-person Bible studies or classes or lectures, those kind of things for me up here. So hanging out with you like this and talking about stuff, talking about faith, having these conversations that I do in my podcast and you do on your videos. I love that kind of stuff, and I can't get enough of those things these days. There's a great need for those kind of conversations. So I am up for any conversation you want to throw at me. Just be warned, I'm pretty smart. So
I'm intimidated.
I've been told.
Yeah, I'm scared already. You sent me that picture of the 900-page book you're reading, and that got me scared.
I did. And because of the lockdown, I'm growing my hair long because I have no choice.
Oh,
so this can be our topic, this 900-page book that I received from Emmaus Academic in the mail. Weighs about 25 pounds, and digging into it. So I'll read this, then I'll mail it to you for $1,000.
Then I have to defend the Protestant position on every question you have.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll do that. Hey, shout out. Okay, well, I have to give a shout out, but first, and instead of maybe that topic that you brought up, we could do Gavin's topic that he gave us of whose t-shirt has greater fantabulosity. That's a juicy topic.
I'm pretty sure in any situation you win because you made both these shirts.
Well, this is true. No. But Mike Shockley said that he did subscriptions done and done. I'm guessing that's to your podcast and to your YouTube channel. So Mike, thanks for doing that.
Wait, can you subscribe to YouTube channels?
Yes, that's what you do.
This is all new for me. Yeah. Wait, is this thing live?
What shall we do with Keith? So we've got some people commenting. It looks like the papacy might be the most popular next topic. And I believe there's some people saying that we should do these live Q&As. I believe Hallie said yes in all caps. So you've said yes. She said yes. Whose hair is better? That's another debate topic we could do. You know, is it?
We
got
busted
the beard
for the
on
hair talk last time we had a we had a
we
chat.
did. We got in trouble.
Busted. Yeah. People didn't like that.
They didn't. But that's okay.
I mean, we'll see. I have no choice. Our barbers are shut down and locked down, so mine's growing whether I like it or not. We'll see for how long. And I mean, whose beard is better, I think, would be the fair debate, and I would win.
That you would. Yeah. But we are so excited to be sharing these conversations with you. And let us know as well if you guys have people that you think, hey, it would be fun to see these two people paired up, and it would be fun to see you guys co-host it. I think what was really fun about this conversation is as hard as you can try, unless you do a formal debate where no one says anything, like it's just timed out, and those have their place. But when you're hosting a discussion between people with different points of view and you agree with one of them, it's really hard for it to not come across a little biased. Like if I were to host Joe and Gavin, it'd be tempting to just like give softball questions one way or to let out my bias and vice versa for you. But I think with both of us hosting it provides kind of a fun dynamic to give both perspectives in both the hosts and the people being interviewed. So I'm really excited to do these. I know someone said Doug Beaumont in the comments earlier, if I would ever have him on. I know he's a big fan of your show. I'm not going to sign him up live for this, but if people have ideas, I think this is going to be a really fun series to start.
Can I give the listeners and viewers, listeners? See, I'm podcast world. Doug Beaumont was actually the first person that I asked to come talk with Gavin Ortland on this kind of discussion, and Doug said, "No way, Gavin's way too smart." So I got Joe, who wasn't as afraid as Doug. Hey, so Doug, if you're out there, yeah, definitely. Doug is fantastic, right? Doug is a good friend of the show, my show, as you know. I'm looking at my shirt on you and saying, my show. Doug was actually the first guest I ever had on the Cordial Catholic. I didn't know what I was doing. I hooked up this thing into Skype and like turned the volumes, and I ended up recording him twice. So I had to literally go through the track and erase whenever I talked. He also talked. There was an echo, so I had to erase the echo every single time. It took me, I think, like 15 hours to edit the first episode of the Cordial Catholic because I made such a terrible mistake with the audio. But he's come back, I think, 4 or 5 times now, and he's one of my favorite guests to have on the show because I think, as you know, he taught at Southern Evangelical Seminary. He was an evangelical, did his master's, did his PhD, and became Catholic. And he's got such a foot in the evangelical camp. Like he taught at seminary, so he's got a great perspective on Catholic and evangelical paradigms, both of those worldviews, and can balance that really well and talk about that really well. So he'd be a great guest to have on the show for a conversation too. I think he's a fantastic guy, and a good friend.
I think that would be fun. I was just stacking up comments from people complimenting Doug, and I think there's different Protestants I think that would be fun to have on. I might see if we talked about doing one with Dr. Jordan Cooper. I could see if I could get him back on. He's been doing a lot of work on prayers to the saints, which I think could make for a really interesting conversation. But also, I don't know if you know this, but Gavin, like I think it's a prerequisite to being an Ortland that you have to be a published author. His brothers write and have their PhDs. His mom has a book, or I don't know, more out. His father writes, I believe. So maybe we'll just have like all the Ortlands on one day. I think that could be something.
That would be a fantastic show. And what I love about Gavin's approach that really he stood out to me when I came across his videos and then saw him on your show is he's not afraid to tackle these issues and does so with charity and with. So when we're thinking of guests to have for this conversation, I was trying to think of two guys who could have this conversation and do it cordially, of course, do it charitably and honestly, and be able to say, hey, you know what? I think you're right on this point, or I think you're right on that point, or I think I'm wrong on this point, right? And I think that they did that so fabulously in this discussion. And I hope that you and I also being on different sides of the story, right? Looking at different things at different perspectives. I think that, like you said before, too, really allowed for us to host a conversation where, there weren't like teams, or wasn't one person getting up on two people or something, or two against one. I think it was just so well balanced, and I think it helped that you wore my shirt for the interview, because then it was just very disarming for everybody in the conversation.
It really was a fantastic conversation. I give those two guys so much credit, because when we keep saying that's a fantastic conversation, I don't do this to like puff either one of us up, because the scary thing that you'll realize that hopefully they don't realize is that they hardly needed us. They had like the whole conversation without us, but they were just. It was a really great pairing, those two. And neither of us are people that are interested in just debate for the sake of debate or controversy for the sake of controversy. Like that's not fun to me. I don't think that's fun to your Canadian sensibilities. Or just in general, I think that's not the kind of thing we're looking for. And the way that they had this conversation, it was so cordial, and they did a fantastic job. So that's what we're looking for in other conversations like these.
And you're right, they hardly even needed us there at all, which, again, let's just keep that down low between you and me and the 100 or so people in the stream, including Gavin, I think. But it's true, right? The conversation just ran itself so well. I mean, they got into it and politely interjected and went back and forth. And we kind of sat back for the first, I think, half an hour or so. And I just listened and took it all in. And it was such a great conversation just to be a listener in, never mind hosting it. So I look forward to many, many more of those.
Yeah, they're such a great pairing. They're both really bright, but they weren't just trying to gain points. They were trying to further the conversation and do well. And you'll even notice when you guys watch the interview here in a second, they're checking themselves. Like, is this too far? Like, I want to push back, but I don't want to say, I don't want to cross the line. And I don't think either of them came anywhere close to the line, but they did offer substantial critiques, which I loved. They really had both of those things.
Yeah, and it's a great. I mean, it's a fantastic conversation to listen to because you come out at the end. At least I did. I mean, I was where Gavin was at one point as an evangelical, and I became Catholic. So I'm listening to his arguments and his part of the conversation, thinking, you know what? Did I consider that my conversion? Did I weigh those things enough? Um, it's one of those things you come out saying like, oh yeah, so and so just trounced this guy, or he just blew him away, or those arguments were just terrible on this side. It was such a well balanced conversation. I think you come away wherever you are in this conversation with a really good new perspective and some new things to think about and to weigh and consider. How would you respond to these things, right? That's how I felt, and I think it was fantastic.
Yeah, I've gone back. I went back and listened to the whole thing, and I'm going because when you're hosting it, you're thinking about your next question, and I mean, we were able to sit back for a while, but I'm trying to think: is it my turn to ask a question? Is it Keith's? Which Matt, it actually went quite well. I wasn't sure. We had never done it before, but I feel like we were able to keep that going, and yeah, being able to sit back and listen to it the other day, I was just like, man, I got to host this. Like, this was so fun. This, this was such a great conversation. They did a great job. And yeah, I think both sides, if you will, made really great comments. And I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of food for thought as they go, no matter where they land on the spectrum. So I think they're really going to enjoy it. And it's going to be up in like a minute and a half. I can't wait to see you guys in that chat.
What do we do until then?
Oh, we just keep talking. I believe there's been some questions in here. Monica asked, is Austin Catholic now? He is not. He just has the shirt. Just like Keith isn't an evangelical, even though he's wearing my shirt. Although, I guess evangelical is not in the name. But, fair question. But it's a great shirt. Very, very soft. Oh, are you comfortable?
Yours is very comfy too.
Oh, well, it's printed on the same thing. I designed them both. Are you in Saskatchewan?
Hi, Katerina. Yeah, of course. I know her. We're neighbors.
Oh, right.
I'm not in Saskatchewan, but Canada is so small that we all know each other.
That's like right next door, right?
Yeah. Yeah, down the block. Absolutely. Yep.
But, can absolutely. I plug my favorite episode of your show because of that Saskatchewan comment?
Yes. Oh, do. We have
a
couple seconds left, I think.
Yes. I was on Keith's show, not the best episode on his show, but the best episode on Keith's show is, besides the one that's about to air, is the one that he did with Father Joshua Caswell. You might remember, he was the priest who walked around and put up with my crazy questions like, whoa, what did you do with that water stuff at the Catholic Church? And we did an interview together. He is from St. John Cantius, but Keith had him on his podcast and he shared his story, and it was absolutely fantastic. Go and check out the Cordial Catholic, that episode, and you'll see the Saskatchewan reference. All right, guys, we need to let you go and check out that video, and we'll be in the live chat. See ya.